Hey guys, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney 2. Let's carry on where we left off. What a sight we've been treated to right here at the very beginning of this episode. It's Jigoku, packed away in a suitcase aboard the SS Grouse, looking to make a great escape, it seems. Not quite sure why, at least I thought I wasn't sure. But as I was editing the previous episode and I was trying to put two and two together, I'm thinking Jigoku has a bit of a mean streak to him. I feel like he's working together with Kazuma to try and well, put Van Zieks in a cell, if not in the gallows, so to speak. I feel like the two of them are slowly becoming a more sinister Reaper than Van Zieks ever was, and that's kind of concerning, especially because Jigoku is a judge. I mean, I'm not quite entirely sure this is the case, but it is suspicious that Jigoku's hiding aboard the ship and trying to avoid us finding him, considering the implications if the court doesn't find him in half an hour, right? That his safety is in jeopardy. But now that we've located the man, it looks like the trial might be back on track. And Jigoku doesn't look too happy about it, but let's get some answers from him, shall we? Seishiro. You can come out now. Goodness me. What are you doing? I was really hoping beyond hope not to find you here, you know. But you're not entirely unsurprised, I take it? No, quite. I just wish it were some other way. Well, are you ever going to introduce me? Ah, your reputation precedes you, Mr. Sholmes. I've read stories of many of your exploits. Excuse my manners, Sholmes. This is Mr. Jigoku, my old friend and traveling companion. The devil is in the details, Mikatoba. I believe you meant to say your old friend and traveling companion. Yes. Who made the cowardly decision to flee the country without a word to anyone when things turned sour. Ooh, Sholmes, okay. Oh, spicy. You guys just met, but okay. Don't you hate it when your friends fight? I see my reputation precedes me as well. What an honor. Oh, we got court music. Well, Seishiro, are you going to explain all this? You know it all by now, I imagine. What you didn't know, of course, is that 3 days ago, on the night before our arrival in Britain, an attempt was made on my life here on this very ship. By the Reaper of the Bailey. Yes, I've since heard. Because you were once prosecuted by the Reaper, weren't you? 10 years ago now, mind you. And I had no idea at the time what a dangerous individual he was. Anyway, when we arrived in London to find the symposium was postponed until goodness knows when, it became all too apparent to me that I might very well be targeted again. So you decided to flee the capital, without saying a word to me about it? I'm afraid so, yes. Of course I realize now that I really ought to have confided in you. You need to tell someone, okay? Tell someone, your life's in danger, I'm moving out, toodaloo, alright? You can't just sneak off, goodness me. You know what's going on in the capital right now? Shit's going down. It's somewhat surprising, I must say. What is? Well, first-class cabins aboard luxury steamships are in very short supply. It's more than a little hard to believe that this one just happened to be available. So says the protagonist of some colorful short stories. Well, I don't care for your opinion. The cabin did just happen to be available. So I purchased a ticket and here I am. Alright. Round 2, here we go. I've just seen for myself the obvious remnants of that incident in this cabin. So you'd already purchased your return ticket before we even docked in Dover, had you? To prevent anyone else taking this cabin and seeing the evidence. Is that it? Eugen, I have nothing to say to you. Oh, God! Right in the heart, Jigoku. God, what's wrong with you, man? Well, in a mere 5 minutes, this ship will set off on its onward voyage and not make port again until Italy. I'm afraid we must insist that you disembark with us at once. You have no jurisdiction over my movements. Plus, I'm buffer than you. We have this, Seishiro. Take it. Ooh. Uh-oh. Oh, God. He's staring into my soul. What is it? It's a subpoena from the Old Bailey. You're a man of the law. You know what the ramifications of ignoring a document like this from the British courts would be. You came prepared then, Eugen. Come on, let's go. 1 moment. What is it, Sholmes? Inside Mr. Jigoku's trunk, I found this rather fascinating trinket. What is that? What is that? Seishiro. I can't help you, I'm afraid. Some small component from something. But what? I have no idea. By the look on his face, I think he genuinely doesn't know. Well, let us pocket it as a small souvenir of our brief sojourn into France. A small component has been entered into the court record. We're going to beam it over to Ryunosuke. A small machine part that Mr. Sholmes found in Judge Jigoku's cabin on the SS Grouse. Oh man, this is just getting more and more intriguing. What a complex case this is. Well, young Naruhodo, I think we've done as much as we can, I'm afraid. The rest will be on the shoulders of you and your assistant. Who's my daughter. I should probably refer to her as my daughter, but, you know, things are tense between us now. 3rd November, 12:10 p.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. We're back. I don't think we even left for a recess. Kazuma Sogi. I know you. And I know you wouldn't lie. But still, there's no doubt that you're holding something back. You know more than you're saying. During the past 30 minutes while this court was adjourned, all possible efforts were expended. But sadly, Mr. Jigoku's whereabouts could not be ascertained. We must accept the unfortunate conclusion that the Reaper has already done the deed. Oh, Kazuma, Kazuma, stupid, sexy Kazuma. There's no sense in wasting any more of the court's time. The prosecution calls for an immediate verdict.
Objection!
No, the trial cannot end now. You're a Japanese man, Ryunosuke. You should know when to lay down your sword. You should have too, before you broke it. And you should know never to presume when the battle is won. Ooh, yeah. The court has already been presented with all the evidence and heard all relevant testimony. And there can only be one conclusion. That the accused is guilty. No, we need to hear from Jigoku himself. All relevant testimony? Far from it. Not to mention you haven't testified either, you dipshit. You were there. Your freaking sword part is in Gregson's trunk. There's still a crucial witness, from whom the court has yet to hear a single word of testimony. In that case, call your witness to the stand at once, counsel. Yes, my lord. Tomorrow, if possible. The witness is already on his way, and scheduled to arrive tomorrow. Who on earth is this crucial witness? Seishiro Jigoku. Alive and well. I'm not puppeteering him or anything. The very man allegedly murdered by the Reaper. Judge Jigoku, you found him. But I hid him very well. But the investigations of every policing resource in the capital suggest that Jigoku is already dead. He's not fucking dead. He's missing. He was missing for half an hour, guys. How in the name of God did you find the man? He was located in France during the recess, at the port of Dunkirk. Thanks to one of Mr. Herlock Sholmes' famous deductions. Herlock Sholmes. Strongheart, please sit down. You're intimidating me. Inspector Gregson almost certainly met with Mr. Jigoku on the night of his death, because along with Prosecutor Asogi, Gregson was on a mission to assassinate the man. Can't believe Gregson was... Really? No! Not Gregson, no! I'm with Gina on this, I can't believe the boss would do that. Really? Which means that Seishiro Jigoku is the sole witness who can clarify exactly what happened aboard the SS Grouse on the 31st of October. Well, it would appear that it's too soon to move to adjudication at this point. Sorry, Kazuma, old friend. The prosecution concurs. The court must hear Mr. Jigoku's testimony. Oh, now you concur, huh? Because you know you're in a corner. No judgment should be passed until all testimony has been considered. including yours? In that case, I hereby call the end of today's proceedings. Court will reconvene at the same hour tomorrow. No objections from either side. No, my lord. No objections, my lord. Well, Van Zeeks isn't objecting either. We live to fight another day. By the skin of our teeth. Well, Iris did give us the tool to pull when we were backed into a corner, and we did. And now we're out of it. Yeah, go to your fancy-ass restaurant, Kazuma. Enjoy a meal tonight. Pat yourself on the back for a job almost well done. To be continued. Gah! Was just seconds away from it. Oh, not seconds. Minutes. Alright, we're back. The unexpected halt of proceedings sent a clamor around the courtroom. But outside the Bailey, where Londoners knew nothing of the secret trial within, it was a typical still night. Then, at a little past 8 o'clock that evening, Mr. Sholmes and his partner returned to Baker Street. But where's Jigoku at? Is he staying here? Oh, look at this meal. Goodness me. 3rd November, 8:07 p.m. Sholmes' suite. We've returned, my dear fellows. Welcome back to Britain, and thank you for your timely help. Think nothing of it. I believe you've had an even more wearing day than Mikatoba and I, no? You can say that. We were on the brink of defeat in court earlier. So this prosecutor, Asogi, had you on the ropes, did he? And he's your best friend, you say? Well, I don't know anymore. He's not really the man I knew in Japan anymore. Kazuma's changed. Consumed by vengeance, almost. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. Not to mention, Susato's father has also changed in her eyes. I mean, it's incredible. To think that he'd even entertain the idea of acting as the Reaper's assassin. Well, nevertheless, you must introduce me. After all, I've only ever met the young man as a corpse. And what was that all about, huh? When all this started, almost a year ago now. Mr. Sholmes still hasn't told us the truth about what really happened back then. About the motivation for what he himself described as a great detective's lie. Exactly. I need to know. Now then, I must say, it's really quite a journey all the way to France. I'm going to retire for the night. Good night. I will save my explanation for the epilogue. But it is another country, Mr. Sholmes. So, what news of Judge Jigoku? We took him to Scotland Yard. The investigating detectives there have a lot of questions for the man. Poor Professor Mikatoba. This must be quite a shock for him. Ah, yes. I picked this up at the telegraph office on our way home. What is it? Surely you haven't forgotten already. I put upon you for the matter only yesterday. You put upon me, Sholmes. I had to fill out your telegram to Japan and foot the bill as well. Oh, you've had a reply already? What was so urgent, though, Mr. Sholmes? Such matters can wait until later. I'm far too hungry for an involved conversation at present.
Well, that's good news, because supper's ready, everyone.
Ah, and what a feast it is. If I were none the wiser, I'd think the trial were won already. Roast beef, kippers, stew, steak, and kidney pie, Yorkshire pudding. Couldn't be more British.
Tomorrow could be a very long day, so eat up.
In that case, I think I'll seat myself just here. This place appears to be the only one set with a helping of pheasant as well.
Oh, sorry, Hurley, not there.
Why ever not? Are we in set places this evening?
Yes, and that place is for Susie's daddy.
For me? Oh.
That's right. I made it especially for you, Professor Mickey.
I see. Well, that's terribly kind of you. Is it because I might be your daddy?
It's a shame, really.
What do you mean?
I poisoned the pheasant. I probably shouldn't have told him that, though. Well, for a brief moment, I believed it. That Susie and I were half-sisters, I mean.
Aww.
Oh.
Huh? Oh, not this again. I just want to eat in peace. Please, I don't need I don't need any drama at the dinner table.
Iris, do Do you mean...
Did you do like a DNA test?
Yes, I know now. I overheard yesterday. I secretly listened in to the conversation you had, after I tricked you all into thinking I'd left.
Oh, yeah. Totally. You fooled me. What? What? Sholmes? Oh, God. He's knocked himself out. The misunderstanding arose because of that autopsy report from 10 years ago. But actually, it turned out that neither Dr. Wilson nor Professor Mikatoba are Iris's father. Ooh, who could it be? Who could it be, guys? Could it be? I don't know. Yes, about that, Iris. You know,
I know. You can't tell me at the moment. Oh, Iris.
I mean, come on, there's only one person it could be, right? Right? Oh, I suppose maybe there's two. Or three, even. I don't know. It's gotta be Clint, right? Because of the 10 years ago? I suppose could be Gregson, too, maybe. But, I don't know. The only question is I don't know who the mother would be. That's the thing that's holding me back from being absolutely sure.
The person is by way of an apology. I'm sorry for eavesdropping.
Oh, no, that's quite all right. Then why don't I get my apologetic brothers? Why don't I get any apologetic pheasant? So just who is Iris's father? I suppose that's not something we'll be finding out today. Probably by the trial's end, though. So then, let us die, while our largely pheasantless plates are still piping hot. Damn, looking at that makes me hungry. A fine idea, Sholmes. It all looks absolutely delicious.
Eat as much as you like. There are always seconds.
This could be our last chance to ask questions before tomorrow's trial. About that telegram from Japan. And about Kazuma. I can't let this opportunity slip away. So I'll talk with my mouth full of... not pheasant. Sholmes, are you okay? Are you pouting? Oh. Well, let's take a look at this. Roast beef, kippers, stew, steak and kidney pie, Yorkshire pudding. It all looks mouth-wateringly good. Indeed it does. And if it were accompanied by even a morsel of pheasant, it would be perfection. You're still on that?
Oh, it really does look like a feast for celebrating a victory in court.
I suppose not losing today was a victory in itself, or indeed for drowning one's sorrows after defeat.
I hope you weren't referring to the trial tomorrow, Mr. Sholmes.
He's clearly still in mourning over the pheasant at the moment. Can we look at anything else in the office? There's all sorts of, on these shelves, chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high I can't help feeling that the whole lot is going to topple at any moment.
It looks as though it might topple, and yet it doesn't. The epitome of Mr. Sholmes' brilliance.
I don't get it. As it happens, I'm quite well practiced when it comes to stacking shelves myself. Just the other day, the shelf in my office finally gave way under the strain, though.
It looks as though it might topple, and it does. Yes, the epitome of your disarray.
I really don't get it. Especially because half the time I'm toppling, it's you taking me down. Gosh, how rude. Hopefully I don't get Susato taken down anymore in this game. I don't deserve it, damn it. I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in the country, in fact. Although, I do yearn for a Japanese kotatsu. Putting your legs under a warm blanketed table is so comforting. I really want to try one day.
Do be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't mistakenly put your feet into the fire, will you? You'd suffer terrible burns, you know.
I know. I'm not entirely dense. I worry sometimes about how Susato-san sees me. Over here, quick look. Ah yes, Mr. Sholmes' curious collection of trinkets from the various mysteries he's solved.
It's one of my favourite parts of this room, full of items with such exciting tales to tell. And I do believe he's added to it since I last looked. Now there's a mysterious pinay, a mysterious little box, a mysterious horseshoe, a mysterious biscuit. Sorry, I don't know if that's how you pronounce that word. I think that last one might just be one of Iris's unfinished snacks. Okay, so this is kind of like repeating. It's all good. Let's get to Sholmes. I'm curious. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Oh no. Surely it's abundantly clear that I wasn't brooding over Mikatoba's refusal to share his pheasant with me.
Nevertheless, oh, he didn't share? Damn. I felt the need to withdraw from the social circle for a while and look on with hungry eyes.
Sorry, Hurley, but I cooked that pheasant especially for Susie's daddy.
Even though I've played the role of father to you for far longer. Mr. Sholmes, can I discuss some things with you? Certainly, my dear fellow. I find myself quite in the mood for a spell of conversation. No doubt, you're hungry to learn more of my deep love of game. I could probably contain my curiosity on that one. You'd probably just get upset talking about pheasant anyway. You needn't look at me in that fashion. In what fashion? It seems that before we discuss the pheasant, we have some rather unpheasant matters to discuss. Yes, we do. So, let's talk. The telegram from Japan. Let's start with that. So, what was in the telegram you received back from Japan? Ah, this. I thank my lucky stars it arrived in time. Record found as indicated. Duplicate follows. K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson. What? Those 4 names. That's right. We've come across that exact same list before. All the way back. They came up in that unforgettable case last spring. What appeared to be a simple case of aggravated murder turned out to be masking monumental intrigue. A plot that involved the sale of British governmental secrets to foreign states. In exposing the means by which those secrets were being leaked, we deciphered a fragment of the message. K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson. But we didn't find the names out until the case was over, and we never did get to the bottom of what they meant. And A. Shin was like the mysterious one that we didn't know until the second game. All we knew was that the information had been sent by somebody in the British government to somebody in Japan. So, why are the names coming up again now?
Yes. Where did the sender of your telegram discover them, Mr. Sholmes?
I have here the message I had wired yesterday. Allow me to read it to you. Enter Judge Jigoku's office undetected and investigate telegram records. Ooh. Expect to find communication from Britain dated 1 year ago. List of 4 names. Need by tomorrow. Naruhodo. Wait, what? Did you send my name, or were you saying, I see now? I sent it to a detective I know who specializes in clandestine missions of this nature. Oh my god, of course it was.
You asked Inspector Hosonaga to undertake such an onerous task for you.
And in my name? I wonder what guise he opted for this time. My dear fellows, it was a matter of great urgency, you understand? I do understand. Anyway, the list of names was found in Seishiro's office, as Sholmes predicted.
So you mean that mysterious collection of names that was sent from Britain to Japan was... It was sent to Judge Jigoku. He was the intended recipient.
I don't believe it. What's going on? I trust no one. Gregson, an assassin. Jigoku, corrupt official.
But that doesn't answer the question of what the list of names actually signifies.
I did formulate a hypothesis about that. But without a shred of evidence, I couldn't possibly have shared it.
Mr. Sholmes,
I'd like to hear it anyway. Looks deadly serious for once. He's not hiding his facade anymore of aloofery. The telegram from Japan has been entered. A telegram from Inspector Hosonaga in Japan with details of the telegram he managed to locate by stealing into Judge Jigoku's office. Speaking of, I need to examine a few things. Let's start with the evacuation drill following departure of... I think I read this, but I need to read it again. Following departure from the port of Dunkirk, all crew members are required to assemble on the main deck at 10 PM in order to review evacuation procedures. The drill will take 20 minutes. Okay, so that's probably when the assassination attempt took place, because the crew was off to do their evacuation drill. Small components. What is this? Is it a machine part, or is it like a badge or a cufflink or something? You see these little things all over the place, don't you? It's the part on the top of a pocket watch that you twist to set the time, isn't it? Ah, right, of course.
It's called the crown, I believe. A watch would be quite useless without one.
The crown? Like what sits on top of a monarch's head? It's a very grand name for such a tiny part. But actually,
Yes, Mr. Naruhodo.
if this is a crown, I have a feeling I might have seen a monarch around here somewhere with a very bare head.
If by monarch you mean pocket watch, then I'm quite sure you have.
Okay, can we combine it? I mean, I suppose it doesn't really matter at this point. Can we take another look at the watch? It's all the way over here. I got so much evidence in here. Are we gonna get this cleaned up? We can re-examine it.
What do you think, Mr. Susato? I feel sure I know exactly what will fit here.
Really? I was just thinking precisely the same thing.
We're about to see that the little round component is actually a part of Inspector Gregson's broken pocket watch.
Really? I was just thinking precisely that too. We've crowned it.
Perfect fit.
I knew it. Alright, perhaps you knew it.
I'll make a note of this new information at once.
Okay, small machine part. It's now clear that it's the missing crown of Inspector Gregson's pocket watch. Good, good. Glad we've got that updated. Last but not least, the telegram from Japan. Record found as indicated. Duplicate follows. K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson, Hosonaga. Excellent. Okay, now, Kazuma's death. That tragedy we had to go through on the SS Berea. It was all for nothing. Kazuma wasn't dead at all. Don't you smile. We were completely taken in by the lie you told us. Your great detective's lie. Well, I took no pleasure in deceiving you. However, at the time, all that concerned me was preventing the young man's study tour from taking place, whatever the cost. I see. What? I capitalized on the events that transpired to see that he was sent back to Japan.
His remains, you mean?
Precisely, Miss Susato. And then, I made sure that somebody else was sent to Britain in his stead.
Oh my, you mean?
The arrangement between our two countries was already in place. One university student lawyer and one judicial assistant to be accommodated on a study tour. In other words, by arranging for someone else to fill the place originally intended for Mr. Asogi. Damn, Sholmes, taking in strays left, right, and center. First it was Iris, now it's me and Susato. I would successfully prevent the man from arriving on our shores for several years at least. Wait, do you mean to say that it was all in aid of stopping Kazuma from coming to Britain? That's why you... Think back, Mr. Naruhodo. Was there not somebody who quite casually urged you to continue on the voyage to England? The terms of the study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. In the light of Mr. Asogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead. Sad face. My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is one lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely.
But there is no one else with that necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer.
The voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer. So, you manipulated me. I've often remarked on that extraordinary lengths to which friendship will drive a man. I was quite sure that you would rise to the challenge for your late friend. I love this man. I love this man. I don't believe it.
But if it was all contrived... I mean, what happened was treated by the authorities as murder. Owen was mistakenly arrested as the perpetrator. What do you suppose became of her?
Exactly, that's my great concern. Naturally, I didn't allow the misapprehension to have any serious repercussions. I subsequently explained everything and assisted the unfortunate soul in finding the foreign refuge she sought. I seem to remember Miss Susato and I had some rather strong words for her. Well, she was certainly not devoid of all guilt. She deserved every word, I'm sure. I wonder if she made it to America then. Whew.
I'm afraid I simply cannot comprehend it. Why would you go to such lengths, Mr. Sholmes? Why were you so determined to stop Kazuma-sama from reaching Britain?
Take him down, Susato. Flip him over onto the feast table there, and then he can get pummeled by the boxing glove inside. The truth is, 12 months ago, there was already a very tangible omen of the impending tragedy, you see.
Oh.
An omen that, at this very moment in time, is close at hand.
Huh?
An omen of all these tragic events that already existed a year ago is close at hand? We need to find out exactly what Mr. Sholmes knows. Please, tell us. I suppose I need to present something. I don't know what, though. Hang on. Go back to converse. Yep, everything's been exhausted. Let's thumb through our court record and see what we can present. Can I present the lucky charm? I want to see what he says. Mr. Sholmes, would you mind looking at this? Nope. This is hardly the time, Mr. Naruhodo, as I'm sure you will appreciate. Oh. No, of course not. My attention is entirely drawn to one single matter now. The pheasant. Anyone would think you hadn't eaten in weeks. Okay. So obviously we can't just erroneously submit something. Let's start with a telegram from Japan. There was no room for doubt with your instructions in this telegram, Mr. Sholmes. You were very clear that it was Judge Jigoku's office that should be searched, so you obviously knew that that's where the list of names would be found.
K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson.
I just realized that K. Asogi is broken up by A. Shin, and then there's a comma for T. Gregson. Is that because they're paired up? And then J. Wilson. But we only learned of those 4 names just over 6 months ago now. And only because they appeared as part of the top secret government communications that were leaked. That's true, yes. But at the time, you were unaware of the background. You see, those 4 names were wired to Japan. Around 6 months before that. Approximately this time last year, in fact. When you were both still in Japan. Really? It really would be hypocrisy on my part to reprove others for intercepting state secrets. Because after all, I'm perpetually eavesdropping on communications between the British and Japanese governments. Excuse you? You're perpetually doing what? How? Never mind the details, but you should know. No secret is safe from Herlock Sholmes when he has designs on knowing it.
Oh, well, Mr. Sholmes, what a fabulous line.
What a fabulous musical track you got playing as well. Now, 1 month after that list of 4 names was wired to the recipient Jigoku in Japan. Dr. John H. Wilson was murdered. As soon as I learned of the incident, a hypothesis rapidly took shape in my mind. As it turned out, I was partly correct, and partly mistaken. Nevertheless, it was the beginning of all tragic events that were to follow.
Mr. Sholmes, please, tell us all you know. Tell us about these 4 names, and the tragedy to which they're all somehow connected.
Yes, go, the 4 names! Let's hear it. As I said, when I learned of Dr. Wilson's murder in Japan, my mind immediately turned to those 4 names. Because you see, there was someone else on the list, who I believed to be recently deceased. What? Who? A. Shin, as it was transcribed in Japanese script. In actual fact, Miss Asashi. That was a familiar name to me. She was a professional killer, well known among London's unsavory classes. Oh, I see. But she had completely vanished from existence several months before Wilson's murder. So I came to the logical conclusion that she had herself been killed, and accordingly, I became fearful for the lives of the remaining 2 persons on the list.
Ah, K. Asogi and T. Gregson.
It's a hit list. She was actually a target, you think? Owing to our proximity, I decided to take measures to protect Gregson myself, but I determined it would be safest if young Asogi were to stay away from Britain. Ah, so that's why you went to such lengths to prevent his study tour from going ahead. Exactly. But why were the names telegrammed to Judge Jigoku?
So you already knew who Kazuma-sama was, Mr. Sholmes?
Oh yes, Sholmes and I have exchanged correspondence for years. I've recounted many tales about Asogi to him in my letters, And the news of Dr. Wilson's death, of course. I'm sorry, Iris.
So, Dr. Wilson is dead then?
Yes. We were holding off on telling you because we thought he was your father.
I didn't know.
Oh, Iris.
I know he wasn't my daddy, but still, that's very sad.
It was. I was framed for it too.
I'm so sorry, Iris. We knew the significance of the name, obviously, but we just couldn't bring ourselves to tell you. No.
But what you just told us, Mr. Sholmes, doesn't completely tie in with the facts. There's one big hole in your hypothesis.
A big hole, Mr. Naruhodo?
Ah, yes. You mean about Assassin, I presume?
Oh, of course.
Exactly. She wasn't killed, was she? She killed one of the others on the list. She was in Japan, posing as a visiting student under the assumed name of Giselle Bread. I'm glad you're keeping up, my dear fellow, but I only became aware of that fact 2 days ago, in the foyer of the Great Waterloo Hotel. What? Did no one tell you? Ah. And upon hearing that startling revelation, the hypothesis that I'd formed surrounding those 4 names was completely turned topsy. What? Topsy? Topsy hypothesis. What do you mean when you say your hypothesis was turned topsy, Mr. Sholmes? I believed all 4 names on the list to be the names of victims. However, I was mistaken. Very much so. Assassin was a killer. So this telegram is a list of both victims and killers, is it? Indeed. And it would seem that Miss Shin was dispatched from Britain with the sole intention of dispatching Dr. Wilson. Her visiting student status being merely a front. But why? Why kill Wilson? Is this Reaper activities? I don't think Wilson was indicted on anything, was he?
Which would of course explain why no motive could be determined for her actions.
So the real reason Dr. Wilson was killed by Assassin is because he was the target of an assassination. And forearmed with that knowledge, fresh consideration of this telegram puts the list in a very different perspective. Yes, because A. Shin and Gregson are separated by a comma. They're the same class. Is that it? What do you mean? Well, does it not strike you? There's another among the 4. I like how in that little icon for the telegram, you can clearly see the K, A, T, and J as their initials. Who subsequently became a visiting student. Wait, you mean... But of course, a name you know only too well. You mean... Kazuma? Oh, he did say in court earlier today. Yes, on 31st October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission. And the mission was the assassination of the Mark. This is juicy shit, man. Young Mr. Asogi accepted that mission a year ago now.
Surely not.
In conclusion, this document is a contract of sorts. An international agreement on one might say, detailing an assassin exchange. Whew. An assassin exchange? God, what a word. How could... what words? It's not a word. How could Kazuma possibly have gotten involved in something like that? Assassin exchange. Let's assume that we have 2 parties, each wishing to dispose of a distinct individual. Those 2 parties then make a contract to swap their respective assassination targets. That would then be an assassin exchange.
So to begin with, the British assassin is dispatched as a visiting student to Japan, where she kills her target. And then the Japanese assassin is dispatched as a visiting student to Britain in order to eliminate his target. It certainly does sound like an exchange.
Jeez. But what on earth is the point? Can't you just hire someone local? Support the local economy of local killers? Don't forget, Naruhodo, the British assassin at least escaped conviction. Thanks to diplomatic immunity afforded by consular jurisdiction. Oh yes. Such jurisdiction should be null and void under the terms of the new treaty between our two countries. So the fact that it was brought into play suggests intervention at the very highest levels. The highest levels? We're going after the Queen of England! These murders were two sides of the same coin, linked not by a common motive but by contractual agreement. As such, they appeared utterly unrelated. Yet in truth, the assassins were complicit in one singular devilish scheme. That disassociation and the safeguard of diplomatic immunity were, I believe, the motivation behind this plot. Right. But wait a minute, Miss Sholmes. If this telegram really is describing the exchange of the assassins as you're suggesting, it would mean that the Japanese killer's target was never Seishiro Jigoku at all. It would mean Asogi's target was actually Inspector Gregson. What? Kazuma was here for Gregson? So Judge Jigoku wasn't actually the mark? Well, yeah, he got the contract.
Yes, that's exactly what it would mean.
Uh-oh. I hold myself personally responsible for failing to keep the inspector safe.
Mr. Sholmes.
I told him of my fears and implored him to seek a transfer to an overseas position. Right. Obviously. With the young pickpocket in tow. Yes, Gina. Come to think of it, Inspector Gregson did mention that to us at the Great Exhibition. That he'd be transferring to the Paris police and taking Gina with him. That would be the +1, right? But without informing me, he engaged in one last assignment, it seems. And sadly, it turned out to be his very last. Damn. This is too much to take in. How am I going to sleep tonight? Now that was an info dump. God damn.
Alright everyone, that's quite enough of all that serious talk for one day. Isn't it, Hurley? I mean, look at the time.
Ah, quite right, Iris. We must conclude our preparations for tomorrow. What preparations? Well, I think I shall make my way back to my hotel room now. This has certainly been a night to remember.
It is a little bit sad, though. I mean, I like the idea of you being my daddy. Because then Susie would have been my big sister.
Okay. I'm sorry, Iris. I thought we were done with the serious talks tonight. She can still be your big sister, just not blood.
I know, Iris. I was thinking quite the same thing. Were you? But if somebody like me would be worthy, I would be delighted to become your sister. What? Really? Oh yes, without question. So, you'll teach me all the ways you know to throw Runo to the floor?
I'm going to bed. I've had enough of this.
Yes, yes, of course. It would be my pleasure.
You didn't have to agree quite so readily.
Hey, but wait a minute. If Susie's going to be my big sister, you can be my big brother if you want, Rene.
Huh? I mean, yes, of course. If you'll have me, I'll gladly be your brother. But that means you can't attack me, alright? Well done, Iris. You must always be mindful of feelings. I've raised you so well. Oh, God. Because being sensitive is your strong suit, naturally. Good God. It's gonna be tough to say goodbye to these guys.
Right, I'm going to work extra hard for tomorrow now. Because it's for my big brother and sister.
What is all this talk about preparing for tomorrow? Preparing what?
Lunch. You'll just have to wait and see.
Don't keep me in suspense. I've got too much to worry about. I don't have enough room in my brain to be concerned about this other stuff. Oh. Good luck in court tomorrow. I'm expecting a sterling performance. I'll do my very best, of course. Sheesh. What a web we've gotten ourselves tangled in. So the overnight break in the trial's proceedings became a crucial turning point, exposing new truths whilst posing new conundrums. That list of 4 names on the telegram in Judge Jigoku's office, and the extraordinary assassination plot in which my best friend had somehow become involved. I felt as though I had been plunged into an even greater darkness all of a sudden. But at the same time, I felt sure I would see the light again soon. Are we going to get a happy ending out of this? Oh, look at my allies. Because I was lucky enough to have the most wonderful family in the world standing steadfastly behind me. Oh, you guys. All right, let's kick some ass tomorrow. Damn it. To be continued. Again. That's 2 in 1 episode. Brilliant.